Hello everybody, welcome to today's Safety Brief. Today we'll be looking at risk involved with your construction project. My name is Michael Bauer. I'm the VP of EHS Industry Solutions here at ComplianceQuest. Today we'll be looking at the top 10 external and internal risk factors that could crop up in your construction project. First, as we look at external risks, those are factors outside the control of your business that need to be understood and mitigated in order to successfully complete your project on time and on budget. Top 10 external risk, the number one, the one that comes up is delayed payment, and which can mitigate, which can cause problems with your cash flow. It can cause problems with the project being delayed. So making sure you've got a process in place so you're not expecting a payment to be done in 15 days and ends up taking 30, 60, 90 days. Second external risk that comes up, and the most common, is client change orders. We've mapped it out and designed it one way, and now they want some type of a change or variant from the original requirements, whether it's push out a bathroom wall, change out the sink, or change the paint color. The third external risk to mitigate is new scope entirely. So we started on a project, now they want something completely different or new. They now want a grandma quarters added, they now want a swimming pool added, which inevitably changes the scope, the budget, and the resources required for that project. Fourth external risk factor is delays in approval. So you've got the project in place, and you're looking for someone that needs to approve this internally. That person's either out of the office, we have expected it to be approved within a day or two. Here it is 6, 7, 10 days later, and a benchmark item gets delayed because of approvals. Fifth is rejection of completed work. So we've gone through a specific part of the project. We thought that it was up to spec. The client looks at it, and either the subcontractor did not do it correctly, but for whatever reason it gets rejected, it needs to be redone, pushes out the project and the timeline and the budget. Sixth challenge to mitigate is delays in supply and selection of materials by the client, especially with the current supply chain issues that we're seeing with COVID. Can be a major challenge if the client decides on a window, for example. Now they've decided instead of aluminum windows, and now want fiberglass windows, and they want a different color. We're seeing some pretty significant delays in supply chain. So making sure that we've nailed down and they understand the impact of if you make a change or you delay into selecting your material, not only may it not be available, but it may be prohibitively more expensive than just 3 months ago. Seventh risk factor is delays from a consultant or inspector. So making sure you've got those folks lined up, make sure you have them scheduled, maybe even have a backup person in place. We're seeing big delays in consultants and inspectors with so many construction projects going on. An eighth factor is client unavailability. There could be sickness, there could be life issues, capacity constraints, holidays, but those are another factor that we have to be aware of that can delay the project. Ninth, weather conditions. Be aware of the climate that you're working within, what type of weather could be, what kind of weather factors could happen. If it's a rainy climate, do you have parts of the project that you can plan to do indoors so that the project doesn't get delayed? And then also be aware of the potential natural disasters of that area and how they could potentially impact your project. Okay, now let's look at the internal risks. So these are factors within your business itself that can threaten success of the project, but often you've got a much more control over mitigating these risks. First and most important is budget cash flow issues, making sure you haven't bid off too many projects at once. You've got the proper funding in place. If you can't start 4 projects at the same time, making sure you've gotten your accounts receivable, accounts payable synced up, so you're not having a problem there because you're over leveraged. Second is making sure you've got a proper procurement process and system in place. Third, it kind of goes without saying, making sure you've got proper planning, proper project management tools in place to make sure that you understand and can see at a glance what resources and what materials are going to be needed for your project. Fourth thing to think about is potential unavailability or sick sick resources. So think about, do you have some redundancy? Do you have some backups in place? Because there's going to always be a percentage of people that are going to be sick or out at any one time. Fifth thing to solve for is potential delays in supplies or materials. Again, seeing a lot of supply chain issues right now. Lumber prices are at all-time highs, so making sure, and also when possible, lock in those supplies as soon as possible in your project, so you don't, when you're not out of them, and when the material cost, especially if you're on fixed bid, doesn't now could cause a problem, because now the cost of the material is 20% higher than when you bid on it 6 months ago. Seventh is making sure you understand and mitigate challenges with your municipality, making sure that you're able to get your permits on time, you know the right people to talk to, you've got that system in place, and also being able to mitigate those delays that you're seeing in the offices. Eighth, effectively managing potential labor disputes and contracts. Ninth is technology issues, making sure that you have backup plans in place, mitigating challenges with potential wireless going out, mobile phones going out, other things around technology that can bring your system to a halt. So again, redundancy, backup plans. And then lastly, as you're working through your project, making sure you planned appropriately, so you receive that notice of construction from the municipality to be able to continue and proceed with your project. So those are the top 10 external and internal risks to your construction project. Thank you for your time today with your ComplianceQuest Safety Brief. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.